Gruesome Magazine.
Hello once again, I'm Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing the Advent Calendar streaming on SHUDDER. There's no retakes. We do this live and we keep it. All right. Let me introduce my crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how are you doing, sir?
Well, it took me a while to figure it out, but it is December 1st, so we can open the first door on the Advent calendar.
Let's not.
But if you eat the first candy, you must eat them all.
Yes, or you'll die.
Or we'll kill you.
Just bluntly, or you will die.
No. Or I will kill you.
No, even
worse.
better.
You will die.
Better, yeah.
I will kill you.
All right. Also, go ahead.
And don't dump this. Don't dump this.
Yeah.
Or I will kill you.
Or I will kill you.
All right. Also joining this week is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl. How you doing, Crystal?
I'm wonderful.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Okay. I don't know what to say. I'm like, my brain is dead right now. All I'm thinking about is mice and traps and teeth. And I'm still thinking about the conversation we had before the show. So I apologize to everyone out there who even cares what I'm saying. I cannot focus right now.
Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, Christopher? Nice having
Thank you.
Distraction. That's always good.
Yeah, something's weird going on here. What kind of candies you guys eating? I'm doing good, and I'm excited to talk about this film.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Also, rounding out the crew is the one and only Dave Dreher. Dave, how you doing?
You never get tired of that, do you, Doc?
I never will.
Never will. Yeah. I am fresh. I am fresh off a rousing mouse slaughter and ready to talk about this.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, wow.
Now it all becomes clear.
DM us for an explanation of what all that is. All right. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to review Advent Calendar. It's streaming on SHUDDER. We're going to give our first impression. That first impression will be spoiler-free. Then we'll dive into a discussion, and we will dive into the spoilers. And there's lots to be had in this one. It's going to be fun. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Of course, if you are watching us, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. Check them out. We did Chucky, all eight episodes. Go watch that. Of course,
not 10,
if you want,
not 10, 8.
Not 10. 8. I was thinking 10, but we only got 8.
Two of
them is enough.
2 of the episodes are silent.
There you go. If you want to help us out, you can hit the subscribe button, the like button, and share with a friend. It will do wonders, and we'll appreciate it greatly. And of course, we want to hear your comments down below. And I think if you watch this movie, you will have comments to provide us.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. What movie are we talking about? We are talking about the Advent Calendar. It's playing on SHUDDER starting December 2nd, 2021. Written and directed by Patrick Ridmont. The cast includes Eugénie Derouand. I'll go with that. Honorine oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do it. It's French. It's French, and I don't.
Magnier.
Magnier. I like that. Clement Olivieri and Janice Brith. What is it? How do you do that? ABRKH.
It's like a Hooked on Phonics commercial gone wrong.
Use the French.
Oh, I just didn't. I just offended an entire country and half of Canada. All right, synopsis.
Oh, God.
Synopsis. Eva, an ex-dancer, is now using a wheelchair, unable to walk. When her friend Sophie gives her an old wooden antique advent calendar before Christmas, she realizes each window contains a surprise that triggers repercussions in real life. Some of them are good, but most of them are bad. Really bad. Now Eva will have to choose between getting rid of the calendar or walking again, even if it causes the death and destruction of everyone she holds dear around her.
Wow, that's actually the whole movie.
It's fairly accurate.
It really kind of is.
I'm like,
Really
oh,
accurate.
okay.
No need to watch it
Yeah.
now.
I didn't.
No,
yeah.
they're it. You do need to watch it. All right, let's go ahead and give our first impressions to start off with, Crystal.
Oh, yay. Okay, so this movie, I had no expectations going in. I knew nothing about it. I definitely didn't know that synopsis. So I went in kind of thinking, oh, I'm sure this will be okay. But this movie was really, really good. I feel like it's a big concept done on a small scale. It's done very, very cleverly.
Yes.
Because they really focus on actually the calendar itself. And when she opens the candies and eats it, the way that things present themselves and the way that they're done is done clearly with budget in mind, but you're not lacking anything. And I think it's really brilliant. So I think that the director of this is amazing. I think the actress is phenomenal. Actually, I think all the actors were great.
Yeah, it was a great cast. Yeah.
But clearly she carries the movie, and there's a big story here, and there's a lot of depth to it. The characters are well developed. I mean, there's really only a few locations, and it works. It's really, it kind of blew my mind, if I'm being honest. Like, I was like, this is really good. And I even love the way it ended. And I love, I really enjoyed it. I think that it was shot well. I think it was acted well. I think it was directed well. Yeah, it was good. And actually, this might be my new favorite Christmas movie.
It might be. It is a Christmas movie.
Yes, it is.
Definitely is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I loved it.
All right, Jeff, sir. What was your first impression of the Advent calendar?
I loved it too, and I didn't know anything about it either. So I mean, I know what an Advent calendar is. My wife used to always do one with the grandkids when they were younger. So I was interested to see where this was going to go, and I was delighted. I thought it was great. I could just say the same things that Crystal did. The acting was excellent. I loved the sets or the production design. I loved the job that she does playing the character, and her friend too is perfect because her friend's like right on the edge of, at least from my point of view, right on the edge of being too overly friendly and too overcompensating kind of, but very selfish even at the same time somehow. It was well written. God, all the stuff that was in it. I love this little Advent calendar thing. It's just so cool. This little house that you open the doors with the key, and the sound design was great because it really gave a feeling to those doors and the locks. You know, you could hear that. It gave a click. So I don't know. It just kept. It starts you down this road that doesn't seem so bad at first, but it gets badder and badder. To use poor English, worse and
I
worse.
love it. I love it. Great. All right, Christopher G. Mohr, sir. What was your first impression of the Advent?
This film is one of the more brilliant original films I've seen this year. It's
Nice.
It's, you know, it does for Advent calendars what Ready or Not does for hide and seek. You know, it takes
That's awesome.
It takes like this Advent calendar, which isn't like a normal Advent calendar. This is like the Hellraiser version, like a Hellraiser puzzle box version of the Advent calendar. And the production design on that, I want that thing, even though I'd be kind of creeped out by it if I had it. Maybe I don't want it.
Yeah,
Especially when that little dude pops out of the top.
Well, yeah, and then it's like, you know, it's supposed to
Well,
be
and
this
the
old,
brass trimming and everything was.
well, yeah,
so
and it's supposed to be
cool.
old timey, but yet it has like voices coming from it. And it all, you know, has but I think the concept around it is so it's like an advent calendar if you made a monkey paw version of it, there's all these different things you have to do in order for things to be fulfilled, and you have this person who spent most of her life having to deal with this disability, and if there's a possibility of getting rid of that disability, what would you do to do that, and who would you be willing to kill or be okay with,
right? Yeah.
And you see, and I will say right now, this actress who's in this is the best performance I've seen of any actress this year. She's amazing in this role. And also there are moments in this film that you despise the characters in this film. I mean, there's moments I was like, there's moments I was like, oh God, I hate this kind of stuff. I really hate, because there's people in this world that do horrendous things to vulnerable people, and it made me sick to my stomach. But at the same time, when you see the comeuppance, you're like, yeah, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
But then also there's just different people in her life. They're just using her for different reasons, or just being horrible to her, even, and you feel for this character. You feel for this character who's, deals with all these situations. She's been dealt with these bad cards or whatever for her life. And you have this moment, what do you do? And you could see sort of her descent as a character and her arc. I didn't know what to think about this, because we see these movies where it's based around games, or it's based around different things, or Christmas, and you're like, what are they going to do different? And this definitely does something different, and just how it sort of like spins everything without giving anything away. It just spends time. It spends so many different things based around every time she would open one of these little doors. But yeah, everything, the editing is amazing, how it goes from different things. I think my only issue maybe is sometimes with the representation of the evil dude, I'll call him.
Yeah. Well,
or pyramid head without the pyramid head.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I thoroughly was in suspense. There's moments I didn't expect. There's moments like, oh gosh, I didn't know that. Oh wow, that happened because of this. And like, oh yeah, I'll say I thoroughly enjoyed, but there's moments I did not enjoy because I hated the character so much.
Right.
But by the end of it, it's just the storytelling is so spot on, and then all of it comes down to the cinematography, the direction, and definitely the performances, because that main actress is amazing in this role. And I think if we didn't have that main linchpin, everything wouldn't have worked together. But I didn't know what to expect from this, but this is already in my top 10 of the year.
Nice.
Right away.
I like that. All right, Dave Dreher, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next. What is your first impression?
Well, let me take you through the thought process here as I watch this. I put the screener on, right? First thing that comes up is Canal Plus. I'm like, fuck. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, and then obviously it's subtitled. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. But every now and then we come across these ones that kind of transcend my hatred for these things, and this is one of them. This movie was freaking amazing. I mean, I was so wrapped up in this poor Ava's life within the first 10 minutes of the movie. Mm-hmm. The choices that she has to make, and some willingly, some not willingly. It just weaves this unbelievable story that I mean, you hate to say you loved it, because that's kind of you hate to say you loved it, but I loved it. So it's not a happy tale by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a fascinating tale. So this one really surprised me. This I agree with Christopher. This was like instantly top 10 material, easily.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So it has morals to it. Moral dilemma that I found very surprising. I didn't know it was going to go there, and there's a couple decisions where it's heartbreaking. There's a couple, it's just like, that's such a rough decision to make. And then other ones, she does for the fun of it. I love that too.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
really.
she actually said that in it, doesn't
Yes,
she?
she
It
did.
was like, oh, that was just for me.
I really got caught up into this character. I think this character, and the actress that played her was so well realized, and they they present her dilemma, right? Her being in the wheelchair and the people around her without really beating us up, but yet showing how people react without making it comical or over the top. Like, the first person that she meets, doesn't realize that she can't stand until she gets in the chair and he sees it. And then, it's awkward. But they make the most of that, I will say. And then like when she's at the restaurant and she's trying to get from the door to the seat, and
just
how
the
difficult.
looks,
Right.
the side eye, the side eyes, and
and can't get by, right? So I thought they did a great job in expressing that, and I really felt for it. So it really gets you into it, and then the concept of the Advent calendar is really fascinating. It is so well designed, and it's so fascinating what it does. And of course, when the thing pops up out of the top, or when she puts the books on it to keep it from popping up, it's really great stuff. And yeah, I was absolutely blown away by this. And yeah, I will third or fourth or fifth that notion that it's in the top 10. One thing I will say is that I noticed that it was Universal at the beginning, right?
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
It was odd. But I anticipate that somebody will want to make an English remake of this.
Oh,
I can see that happening.
Make a what?
Unfortunate.
An English remake. Yeah, I don't think well, it's always unfortunate in most cases, but I can see where
they could make a totally different one though.
Yep.
Because I mean,
and I will say I liked the character that the thing that's in the box, but I wanted more of it. I wanted it in different ways.
Oh, really?
It seemed a little disjointed at the beginning because you just kind of see. We'll just call it the creature for lack of
let's call it the creature. Let's go ahead and jump into spoilers.
Well, it's waking up, kind of.
They don't really explain that at first. I mean, it's just kind of like this. Like, what the fuck was that?
She opens the door and you see that.
Yeah, but as it progresses, it makes more sense. But that's just that initial exposure to it was like, okay, that seemed random.
Yeah. But by the time it comes out of the canal, oh my god!
That was well. That's where I got the same reference that Christopher did. It seemed very Pyramid Head-ish.
Well, yeah, because it's almost like if Pyramid Head took his pyramid head off. Because he had that long apron thingy.
Yeah, and then the way he walked the same way.
Yeah, I think my issue was there was like this weird purple misty thing around him that looked like really bad special effects, and that was the only thing that kind of took me out of it.
Looked like Alka-Seltzer.
But I mean, we didn't really deal with it as much later in the film,
right?
Where he was like he'd come out of the shadows, or I mean, there's some great moments where he pops up, and I was thinking, it also reminds me of The Ring a little bit, except it's like 24 days. So it's
7 days,
24 days, 24 days. So it feels very Ringish too, to where you have to
it does
a certain amount of time you have to do this or pass it on or whatever. But yeah, I like that. I mean, some of the special effects at the beginning and the things that were kind of pulled me out of it. But then as it went along, I really kind of liked it, and it just got even more batshit crazy where he's like showing up. You better eat this, or you better do this, or
like here you go.
Oh man!
And I'm kind of glad he didn't see what happened with the little dick totem or whatever. Because it was just hearing the sound of it, I was like, oh god,
oh my god! And then she comes bursting through the door, and then
But yeah, I don't know. To me, it's like there's so many outlandish moments, not outlandish in a good way, to how these things play out. Like whether it's the car part, and they played off to where it's like a little toy car, and the dog plays with it. The person in the, I mean, there's like, I'm probably giving too much away, but yeah, I love how, time or all these different things, how the different things work. And even when she sort of meets a previous person who had it, how that plays.
Oh, I love that part.
I just love the little pieces as it comes together. It's in the same way that because I was talking right before this, it's like, I watched. There's this magician who does these puzzles, and you have to like put the key in here and turn this to get this, and that's what it felt like. You know, her finding all these different pieces and how it sort of plays out to where it even plays into things that happened earlier. She was involved with it, so just so many great moments, and how her character just goes from just sort of like being timid to being like crazy as shit almost at some point where it's like, I keep doing this.
And then plus it's, you know, it's in German and she doesn't understand German.
Yeah.
So it's a mystery. All we get is like what it looks like, right? And then, you know, we start learning along with her, which I thought was brilliant. You know, like whenever she gets the baby Jesus over and over and over again, we know what that's about, right? So
yeah.
And
yeah, the After 8 Minutes, they had their own little meeting with the father.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought it was brilliant that when it first starts, she opened. It's like on December 3rd, right?
Yeah, she gets the first two right
off.
So she opens the first three right away, and so you don't get that. You know, that she tries to open the fourth one and the lock won't work. But then we get this. This is at midnight. The thing pops up and says in German, "It's midnight. Time to open the door," and it's the insistence of that, the timing
clever,
of that, and as it goes, and when it starts off, it's irritating, but as it goes on, she's literally like sitting there with it in her
It's
lap,
like a Pavlov's dog,
waiting for it to reach midnight.
Nice.
You know, it's, it just added so much to it, and it also the way what Chris was talking about. You start off not really knowing what's going on. They tell you what is there 3 rules.
Mm-hmm.
Rule 1.
If you eat the candy, you must eat them all, or I will kill you. What was the second one? I don't remember.
You can't.
You must follow all the rules,
or I will kill you.
And the last one is you have to follow all the rules until you open the last door. So
and you can't
or I
dump
will
it.
kill you.
You can't dump it. Yeah, you can't dump it.
So and then there's these little slogans in German on it. So, but as time goes on, without giving you a big, here's how it works. This is going to happen, and this is that information is released just enough to keep you interested and keep you curious to see what's going on and what's going to happen next. It's
kind of a genius in that way. Yeah,
it is. It is.
Well, and there's even stuff. There's a creepy moment with when she's in the hospital.
Oh yes.
There's just a
it's
moment
one of my
just
favorites.
seeing her feet. And I was like, "Oh God, what is happening?" I think if I was like stuck in the bed, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably shit the bed. It's like, what are you doing, crazy lady?
I know. Oh my God.
Yeah, because she can't run away. She
can't run away, but then she's like, you see that little feet going back and forth. It's like, what is this crazy?
And they
woman
did
doing?
such a good job on the patient's makeup. I was looking at that. I was like, damn, she looks so She's scary. She's scary.
Yeah.
She was scary. Yeah.
Well, and I like too how and that stuff is real. It's just like we were talking earlier about one scene, but how people treat somebody in a wheelchair.
Right.
So her friend, who should know better, just walks right through the crowd in the restaurant or the bar without really thinking about her friend, and then she's got to kind of weave her way through and get people to move and stuff like that. And then at work, the crack her boss makes.
He's such a dick.
I'll tell you a story afterwards about a friend of mine that's in a wheelchair that had people say shit like that to him at work. You know, that they really are people like that. It's not overblown. It's the stuff they have to put up with. But she was pretty good at dealing with it for the most part, except for the boss. That was, and Boris. Oh my God, Boris.
Oh, that moment.
But the other two guys, William and Antoine, were pretty.
There's three okay guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boyfriend.
Boyfriend of the yeah. But William, we don't really know because she puts the heart in his whatever that drink was.
Technically.
Mulled wine or something like that.
But even still, he found out and still
didn't care. Yeah.
Still hung around. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is he wasn't really under his own
cognizance. Yeah.
Not at first.
Momentum. It was a thing because what he comes over and says to her.
Yes, the exact same thing that she
Yeah.
said. I think
He goes, "Oh,
it's done
shit."
so well. I loved. He's like, I don't know why I said that.
May I sit down? It's like nobody would say that.
And he is a nurse, right?
Yeah, I
I'm a
know.
nurse and
Yeah.
I can
It's
wash
so
your
awesome.
private parts.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you. Thank you. Clean genitalia is good genitalia.
That's how Doc would be to this podcast. He said, "Come podcast with me, and I'll wash your private parts."
Well, well, part of that, I mean, I think that's also the storytelling and the dialogue, because there's a previous moment. It's like, what am I going to do? Go up to him and say this?
Yeah.
And that's the
Yes.
first thing he says. And so I think that's just brilliant storytelling. How even this evil influence is manipulating things, and in different ways. How it manipulates the dog and does all these different things throughout. It's just, yeah. I mean, I guess I love how it's not so straightforward and how these things play out, because it gets, I mean, the whole thing when the woman comes to the door is like, what the hell just happened?
I love
there?
that. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, well, and like I said, she opens the first three at once, and there's one point where she doesn't eat the candy. I think it's the
it's the one that
baby
says
Jesus
walking
or something.
one.
Right.
The Jesus
the
one.
cripple shall walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but,
So she
the
doesn't
baby
eat
Jesus.
that one
I
at
think they
first.
called her baby Jesus later.
And so that goes on for a couple days before she actually, I think she gets a second one, and then she
She gathers up a couple of them.
Yeah. But later on, like Chris said, it's like, the hand comes out and you're going to do it. You're doing this, and then you're doing it right now.
Yeah.
But the performance of that actress, because whether it's like, the moments where she eats that and she's like shaking and stuff, and then
So physical. Yeah.
and also there's just the emotional moments between her and her dad are just heartbreaking to watch, and just that manipulative step, step.
So I'll even go as far as to say that, and I know this sounds trite, but I just even love the way she ate the freaking candy. How sometimes she just be like, just throw it in her mouth, basically. I don't know. There was something to that.
Well, when the girl
Silly,
tricked her with the,
oh yeah, and she's like,
She's chewing the gum.
it's not doing anything.
oh.
It's not doing anything.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go back to the two scenes with her father, because her father has Alzheimer's and doesn't remember her, and she has two scenes where she gives him the candy that he remembers, right? And that was part of the first candy that they had with the phone call, which is really creepy and interesting at the same time. And but when she had with the two scenes with her father are so emotional and have so much impact. The first one, just the fact that he recognizes her alone is, so heartbreaking in a really interesting way. And then, of course, they have the conversation that he knows what's going on, right? So somehow he knows. And then when she has to make that decision, and I just want to compliment them on making that decision so believable, right? That how she would go about it and when she would go about it, or if she could go about it, right? Really, really want to compliment them. It's really commendable.
Well, you do understand that at this point, so we're in spoilers, right?
Yep.
Okay. At this point, she knew that if she didn't go through with it, everyone would die. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but she didn't know the other secret that we get.
No, that's a different thing. But she knew that everything, because the moment she saw that dude, she was like, "Oh, I get it." Like he went back. Everything. She's like, everything's gonna go. I mean, it was kind of a stretch. Like I was like, "What? Oh, okay. Yeah. But if she didn't do it, if she died, that everyone would stay dead.
Right. And then when she has to make that decision at the end, Crystal, you said you particularly loved her dialogue then.
Yeah.
But okay.
But I have thoughts. I'm curious as to what y'all think she did.
Well, they leave it a little up for grabs, don't they?
Kinda not, but see, to me, I don't think it's really that up for grabs. Because let's be real, she left some bodies in her wake and a lot of lot of fingerprints around, a lot of badness around. Plus, she had money, which means she probably would not be living where she was living before.
Right. Yep.
But she used to be a dancer.
Yeah, we get to see her dance too, which is
Yep.
interesting. I like
Yeah.
the whole filming it. So, all right. So at one point she finds a secret compartment and pulls out this painting, and goes to see. And I think Christopher, you mentioned it when she goes to see apparently the person that had the box before, and I really appreciate that scene
Yeah.
because it gives
Cool.
it kind of. It was an interesting way to pull all the elements together without hitting us over the head with them.
Well, it's exposition through visuals
Mhm.
because we get because we understand that if she fulfills this advent calendar thing, everything goes back to normal, but she also forgets what happened, and so you have this person who had flashbacks to what he did, and it's like, so it's a great way to sort of explain things, because we see this too many times, like, well, this is what happens when you do the advent calendar and blah blah
Yes,
blah,
yes.
and,
Yep,
and
yep.
this
This
is
is-
all through some
Woof.
great
Yep.
visuals.
Yep. Yeah. Otherwise, they would go see a specialist or a medium or something that would tell them.
I was kind of worried he was going to be because he had those funky glasses, and I was like, oh great, he's going to be some punk medium. He's like in his crystal ball and say what happened.
No, I like the very ending too, with the guy showing up at the door and he had the camera, or the phone. So that was perfect. That's perfect. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, a 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And Dave, sir, you are first.
Ooh, look at that.
So,
Yeah, this was a really interesting, intelligent, yet it doesn't treat its audience to be idiots. I like how we go on the journey with Ava. It was just kind of brilliantly done. I don't want to say too much because really, if we talk about it too much, I think it's going to ruin the view.
Well, hopefully
For
people
the-
have seen it before they get
For
to
the people say, no, yeah, that's true. But if you haven't, stop and go watch it before you listen to us babble too much. But yeah, I just thought this was great. I couldn't believe how wrapped up I got in this lady's story. Boy, favorite scene. I hate to even call it a favorite scene. Can we just call it best scene? Because there's no way this scene should be
Yes.
a favorite anything.
Best scene.
I think this is the best scene, and it's when who's that creepy bastard she meets in the restaurant? And he ends
Boris.
up driving her home. Boris, what a scumbag of a human being this fucker is. But when I guess we'll call it the sexual assault scene, and just the way it's handled,
Yeah.
and just the horror, I was completely appalled and pissed off, and I mean every emotion you could.
Nope.
Uh-oh.
If I could have gotten in my car and driven to where they were, I would have beat the living shit out of Boris. It turns out, the dog takes care of things for us.
It does. Takes care of a couple things.
But I mean, that's not that hard. If not, but before seeing this, I would have said impossible thing to pull off. To be as graphic and as detailed, yet to still maintain any type of heart in the story. But like I said, I was just completely repulsed by what I was looking, but it was so well done. So I don't know how else to put it, and I even feel a little creepy saying that that's like my, I think it's the best scene in the film, but it shouldn't be anybody's favorite scene. But there's a lot of that in this movie, quite frankly. There's a lot of uncomfortableness in this movie, and I guess that's what good art does, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this. Man, I'm going to go 4.5 on this. I really
Nice.
liked it. I think
Nice.
this is going to be in my top 3 more than likely.
Wow. Okay. Not even top 10, top 3.
Yeah, I think it's going to go top 3.
Okay. Well, I totally went out of order, but that's all right.
That's
Crystal,
okay.
you're up next. What is your final thoughts, your score, and your favorites?
Obviously, I love this movie. So, I mean, it's on Shudder. You have Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, get Shudder. Come on. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely. I would be shocked if it doesn't make my top 10. But there's a lot of good horror this year. No, it'll make my top 10. because this is special. There's something about it. It's just, there's just the storytelling in this. It's just really, really good. I think a lot of filmmakers should watch this one and take notes. So I'm gonna go with a favorite scene. I think I'm just gonna go with something that literally made me laugh out loud, and I rewound it to watch it again because I thought it was so funny. And it's the belly flop. I couldn't
No!
handle it. I couldn't handle
That
it.
was hilarious.
I died.
Totally
I died
forgot
because
about
it was so unexpected. And then you have this movie where the whole time I'm just like seething for this girl, and just my heart goes out to her. And then when you see that, and then her like laughing about it, I don't know, it was precious. Just a little moment of happiness. And he seems like such a badass dude.
He wants to be. He wants to be.
It made me really happy. That's all. Yeah.
He turned out to be an okay guy.
Yeah, thankfully. And he's smart. Clearly.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score and favorite scene.
Again, I really like this. I like everything about it, and I'm having a hard time finding something negative to say, so I'm going to give it a 5.
Hey.
Ooh, ooh.
I just
Bravo.
Here's a piece of candy.
yeah. Anyway, favorite scene. Yeah, so you know what? I don't think we're going to ruin it for people because it's probably not a surprise, but I watched this a second time.
Oh, that's not a surprise.
I enjoyed it just as much because I could see the story unfold and see things I missed. Like I missed a key thing at the beginning when that guy's head pops up, but that I won't say. I'll let other people discover this. But anyway, so yeah, favorite scene. I'm going to take the one where she gets thrown into the pool and ends up in the river.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was cool.
And that was heart wrenching and tender. And I had no idea what was going to happen, and then where it comes out. I mean, to me, that was another side of her great acting is she wakes up in bed or something, right?
Yeah.
Is she in and the look in her eyes and the time it takes her to figure, I don't know. That's just, God, she's really good.
Yes.
I hope we see some other things from her.
Definitely. All right, Christopher G. Mohr, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score and favorite scene.
Just like the doors in this advent calendar, this film unlocks a brilliant concept and does it flawlessly. This is, this is, I love adding a new holiday horror film to my list. And even though I have issues with certain things, I think the way they tell this story works well on so many different levels. And I could sit here and, pick apart little things with the special effects when it comes to certain parts, but I think the overall concept of it wins me 100%. I really didn't know what to expect. I think I'd never even seen a trailer before. And I guess that's why I love doing stuff with Gruesome. I don't really see stuff until I see it.
Yeah.
And so it's a real surprise to me. And this is a well-crafted movie, and it's one of the best horror films of the year, in my opinion. Yeah. I was in it from beginning to end. I was invested in this journey of this lady who's had to deal with this disability after a car crash, and then finding this moment where there's a possibility of gaining mobility back. But what would you do to regain that? And such an amazing concept. Has a lot of that stuff when it comes monkey paw and that kind of stuff. And one of the best horror props I've seen in a very long time. This should be as iconic as the puzzle box in Hellraiser, as Freddy's glove. It really is. More people should see this and not allow certain things like subtitles or foreign film to throw you off. And I don't really feel like an American film can do this justice.
I agree.
Because the French actress in this, who added to the list of actors that I have a crush on, it's that never-ending Christmas list of I want this for Christmas, Santa. The actress is amazing. I want to see her in other stuff. In fact, in my marriage, no. But anyway, let me just let that pipe dream float off. But yeah, I love this film. It gets a 5 out of 5 for me. It's in my.
Great.
It's probably popped in my top 5, which I need
Very
to
good.
start looking at that.
I know you got
But literally,
some big ones in there.
this is hands down the best performance by an actress of any film I've seen this year.
I would agree with that.
I think just her level of emoting and seeing the gears turning in her head, or her levels of emotion and every situation she deals with and her responses to it, when she can go to having a sense of humor, to being cold, to crying, to every level. It's just, even the like a Crystal things with the big shout out at the very end. You just feel for her. You feel for her from the really horrible situations that happen in this world. But yeah, as for favorite scene, I call it the Sam Raimi moment, and that's the moment where the woman,
Oh yeah.
the woman busts through the door. It's very Sam Raimi-ish and how, because it's even almost like ash flopping down, and but I love that moment. And I kind of hope that this villain. I mean, I'd love to see more Advent Calendar sequels to this.
Yeah.
Because that villain, I think, is very iconic, and it's, even though it's kind of similar to Pyramid Head, but still its interaction is much different, and so creepy how it just manipulates you based on your thoughts and memories and things and all that stuff. And I could see so many other stories that it can be told, because we even get a little glimpse of that other story. But yeah, this film is brilliant. It's definitely the best gift for Christmas
Nice.
I could get as a cinema lover, because this is I hope people watch this on Shudder and need some more eyeballs on it, because this needs some love. This is even though it has horrible stuff in it, I think it's a brilliantly told story. It's very unique. It's one of the most unique concepts I've seen in a very long time in the horror genre.
Yeah, I'll second that. I was very surprised by this movie. I didn't know what to expect from it. I was intrigued by the idea, but I was like, really? An Advent calendar? How's that going to be scary? This is going to be cheesy as hell, right? No, this is actually really creepy and scary. And, we've talked about that the effects, come and go, but, and so from our point of view, seeing as many movies as we do, we know that the budget on this probably wasn't very big, but they make the most of it. They do not. This is how you take a small budget and make it work, right? If you can't do the practical effects, or you can't do the big thing, you do it through atmosphere and tension, and they do it really, really well. And there's emotional impacts to those scenes. And it's, I'm really invested. And also, story. You got to have a story. This one does. And you got to have a character that you care for. And you can't, this character is just absolutely draws you in, and you feel for her, and you want her to survive. You don't want these evil things, but you want to find out what the hell happens to the rest of the Advent calendar. You want to know, there's 24 of them. I got to get through them. So it's what a great surprise. And even though it's in French, this is so well done. I think this could be a theatrical film and really do good. I don't know if people are ready to see a French film in the theaters, and in the States anyway, and do this, but it is really, the cinematography and the filmmaking from the direction of setting up the shots and everything is so well done. It really is a great a really well done crafted film. I loved it. And the actress, like Christopher said, is really holds the film together in a huge way. She's fantastic. I had 4.75, but I am teetering toward giving it a 5. It is definitely going to be in my top 10. It has to be. It's original, right? This is original. This isn't a remake or a copycat. It really has something original to do and say, and approaches the content in an original fashion too. So watch this movie. Please watch this movie. Go to Shudder and watch this movie. My favorite scene.
Oh, yeah.
I could actually choose a couple. But I'm gonna, because the one that really hit me the most, it really kind of got me, was when she, fulfilled her father's wishes, and she brings the gun, and her father turns around and she has to make that decision. It was you could see the struggle, you could see the pain, and she knew she needed to do it, but you could tell that she didn't want to, and the way they actually showed how it, presented how it would end up, also had impact. It's almost Hitchcockian in the way it had impact, because Hitchcock would do that. He instead of showing you something frightening, you'd see, like we did Frenzy recently, and one of the most horrific scenes in that is when it's actually just pulling out of the house and what's going on inside. So it has that level of craft to it. And go see this movie. Go see it. Watch it. Don't wait for the remake. Watch it.
Do it.
We have to give honorable mention to the bathtub scene though.
Oh.
Some of the best effects. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
had to cover my
That always
eyes.
messes
'Cause
with
I
me.
hate stuff with toenails.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
I was actually doing this watching. Oh, don't, please don't.
Because that hurts.
I'm not gonna argue with
God.
that.
Yeah, it does. Another scene I liked was when, I think it was the stepmom, when she's standing in front of the wall and you see the shadow, and all she does is turn around and scream. That was so well done.
Very
So,
Nosferatu.
see how they did all this without having to do too much. And like, think about it, the dog coming back with just the red and then the medallion. Like they were so smart with it.
Well, again, that's great ways of exposition. That's a great way of telling without telling. Visually.
Without saying,
and to me, this is one of the best storytelling movies we've seen in the horror genre, just in how they just tell it visually. This filmmaker is masterful. I need to see more stuff by this filmmaker.
Yeah, it's good. I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's only done 3 films, one other feature called Dead Men Talking, and a short called The Station. So
I hope he does.
he's been acting for years, but this is his. Yeah,
Well,
so he needs to do another one. Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
I agree.
More
with
stuff from this actress too.
Yep.
Yes. Maybe we'll see them again shortly.
She looks familiar to me for some reason. So, maybe I'm just.
Maybe. All right. Well, that's our review for Advent Calendar. It's on Shudder. Go watch it and let us know what you think down below. We'd love to hear your comments. Christopher, Jeff, Crystal, Dave, thank you for joining me. This was so much fun.
Yeah,
It was.
awesome.
It's
Thanks.
Very much.
I always
Good
like
movie.
it when I give you guys a film and you don't want to shoot me afterwards.
No.
This movie was Know the Strings. It was Know the Strings,
No
but it was pretty
Strings,
good.
no
Yeah, we didn't see
Oh
any
God,
strings in it.
I erased that in my memory. Why did you bring that back?
All
Let me go smoke outside in the cold again.
right. Without any clothes on. All right, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.